video, I'm going to talk to you about 5 healthy habits that have changed my life. Hi, my name is Sheila. Welcome to my channel. If you've been to my channel before, you know that a lot of what I talk about has to do with exercise and working out and just moving around. And I also talk a lot about taking care of our mental health too. But in this video, I wanted to talk about some changes that I had made to my life, and maybe you can take a look at your life to see what changes you need to make in order to live that healthier lifestyle. And it doesn't even necessarily have to include always going to the gym, always working out, always focusing on eating healthy. Sure, those things do come into play. One of them is included in the list that I'm going to go over, but sometimes we have to think a little outside of the box in terms of healthy habits that can actually change our lives. The first change that I want to talk about is getting more rest. Yes, we all lead these very hectic, very busy lifestyles. If you're like me, you have tons of things to do during the day, and then it seems like you get home and there's a whole nother to-do list waiting for you. Well, I had been one of those people who would stay up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning just trying to crank out, 2 or 3 more things. I was barely making it through the next day. Actually, I was having to drink energy drinks to make it through the next day, and I was doing that frequently. I mean, I was hardly getting any sleep at all. But about a year ago, I just had enough of that. It was sort of like, if it doesn't get done, it can wait until the next day. The earth is not going to end. No one's going to die. A house is not going to burn down. And so typically I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. I had unrealistic timelines and deadlines that I had set for myself. So these were not deadlines that were necessarily imposed upon me all the time. I just was pushing myself harder than I needed to, and it made it really hard to get up and do what I needed to do the next day. And it's not like I was sleeping until 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning the next day. No, I was still getting up and going to the gym, or I was still going outside for an early morning run, and we're talking 5 a.m., 5:30, that sort of thing. So I was not getting the kind of rest that I needed. Now that I have made that change, I do feel so much healthier. I find it easier to make it through the day, and I'm not fighting as hard. Sure, there are plenty of times when I feel like I could need a nap, but I'm not struggling as much as I used to, and I think my productivity has gotten a lot better. I'm in a better mood just all around, and I focus harder during those times when I am awake. I try to be more productive during those times so that I can really get the rest that I need. The second change that I made did have to do a little bit more with exercise. I tend to be a runner. I tend to be a cardio kind of person. So I'll run outside, or I will get on the elliptical or the treadmill inside. I now also have a water rower that I love, but I would always save weight training to sort of the leftovers. If I had any time, then I would do some weight training. It was not a high priority for me, but over the last year, I have added more weight training back into my routine. And I do find that that feeling of strength makes me feel better. I like the idea that I'm a strong person and that I can lift things and carry things and do my day-to-day activities without feeling like I'm struggling. I also like the appearance that it brings to my body. Cardio is great for burning calories. However, we definitely need to build strength and to keep our muscles and our bones strong. I find that I am happier when I am doing both the cardio side of things and the weight training. So I shifted my sort of mental attitude about it, and I have cut back on the cardio just so that I can make sure that I am getting in the proper weight training that I need to get in. Some days I'll focus on upper body, some days I'll focus on lower body, then other days I may just do a mix of both. I use dumbbells, I have a kettlebell, I'll use the weight machines at the gym. So I do try to mix it up. It's great to have some items at home that I can use in terms of weight training, and then it's also great to have the gym where they have all of that equipment, because I don't have all of that equipment at home. I have no intentions of ever buying all of that equipment and having it at home. So it's great to have options. The third thing that I tried to focus on was refreshing my space, and not just at home but also here at the office. One of the things that really sort of grates me is being in a space that's full of clutter or looks like it's unkept and stuff is just everywhere. Now, I know that we all have our different levels of what we can take in terms of what we view when we walk into a room and how it impacts us mentally. For me, I am one of those persons, well, there's not a whole lot I can handle. So I tend to clean up and straighten up even before I leave to go to the gym in the morning, or if I'm going out of town for an arbitration or a hearing. I will try to pick up as much as I can so that when I come back, when I walk into my space after all of that other stuff that's going on, I don't feel overwhelmed by this sense of, oh gosh, well, you know, there are a bunch of clothes that need to be put up. There are all these papers that are all over everywhere, all over my desk. It just can be a lot for somebody who needs to be able to focus on work and get things done. What I have found is the cleaner my space is, the more I take time to tidy up, the better I feel. Not in terms of, oh, I got stuff done, but it's just a calmer feeling when you're in a calmer, more serene environment. So it's picking up. I even took time to repaint my office at home, to redo the bookshelves. I put a lot of things in storage. I did a whole video about this because there was so much in the room that it just started to make me feel confined and that there was so much going on around me. I needed to get rid of some of that stuff. So if you're one of those people who finds that clutter and being in an unkempt space can actually be demoralizing to you, you may want to take some time to clean the space up, remove some of the items, put items in storage, give things away, and you will actually feel better, like your mental health may improve. The fourth thing that I did is not something everyone else may want to do, but I did go out and buy another piece of exercise equipment. In this case, it was a water rower. Now, this is when the whole pandemic was sort of going on and we couldn't get into the gym. So that was part of it also. But the other piece was it had to do with the kind of exercise equipment that it is. So with a water rower, there's actually the sound of the water that swishes every time you pull on the lever. And so as you're pulling the lever to you, the water is swirling around. And so it's a very calm feeling. And so in terms of my mental health, it was one of those things that definitely contributed to me being in a better headspace with everything that was going on in 2020 and also into 2021. So I love the feeling that it brings. Sure, it takes up a bunch of space. It was not necessarily cheap, but my suggestion is that you look for those things that you can bring into your life that again may help you seek that peace and calm for your mental health that you need. And then finally, the last thing that I have done is I've started to call and shorten and cut out, whatever it is you want to call it, abbreviate, reduce, lessen the number of friends that I associate with. So I've cut my friend list back. There are a few people that I will talk to on occasion. I talk to those same people over and over again. And in some instances, we may not even talk that often. It may be, 2 or 3 months that go by before I have a conversation with some of my friends. But for those people who I really don't have anything in common with, or we're just on different pathways, or they're just negative people that I cannot have in my life, then I have started to reduce my interactions with them. In terms of even settings that I have to go into with meetings or organizations, I've had to look at which ones are important and which ones aren't. And the ones that aren't as important, I don't show up to as frequently. Maybe I only need to be there once every 3 or 4 months to sort of check in and see how things are going. Because if you are like me, you are in maybe a few organizations, and it can take up a lot of time and it can take up a lot of energy. So I have definitely tried to reduce that, and then to sort of focus on the ones that I'm really interested in. And that goes for the organizations and the friends, and making sure that I'm supporting the friends that really need me to be around. So those are the 5 healthy habits that I have worked on over the last year. And I can definitely say that those have helped me feel better as a person. They have also put me in a place where I feel like I'm more productive in terms of the goals and the things that I want to accomplish. But I do want to say this, because sometimes people can hear that and think, oh, it's all about working hard, it's all about working harder. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying is being in a place where you feel better about what it is you're trying to do. And these were the 5 things that really helped me. And so I'm always interested in sharing information and providing people with knowledge where they can sit back and say, maybe there are some things that I need to look at, that I need to switch up, that I need to remove in order to live a healthier lifestyle for me. So I hope you got something out of this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Feel free to share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.